Hey, you guys, I'm coming this today with this video, and it was inspired by just listening to Kitty Rose. I don't know her per se. I've never heard of anything that she's done completely. However, the snippets that I usually see, they usually resonate with me, and I get it. At different phases in your life, depending on where you are, is going to make a determination on how you hear. And so, it's a few things when I woke up this morning that I heard that really inspired me to want to tell a little bit of something that I have in my spirit. On over the past some months or whatever, God has begun to deal with me about making sure that I heal. Because when we don't heal, we bleed on other people. We infect other people with our trauma and all that other crap. And on Sunday, I did a sermon in church it was pretty much called Trauma Responses versus Healed Responses. How do you heal? How do you respond based on trauma, and how do you respond based on your healing? I can take it that a lot of Kitty triggers a lot of people that are still dealing with trauma. Trust me. It was some of the things that she say, if I hear it probably from a traumatic state, it was going to be a trigger. But from my healed state, I get it. Trust me, I get it. So it took me back to a story. I used this story on Sunday, and I have an ex. And in this ex, during that time, I was dealing with trauma. I had not begin to really go on a healing process. And so everything that he said was triggering. Realizing that my ex he was a part of my journey. Just know this. He was a part of me growing and learning. I didn't see a lot of things until I got out of the relationship, although I knew that the relationship was just not for me. And my relationship with him was probably not for him. However, he was a part of my journey, and I learned a lot about me from my experience with him. And I remember introducing him to my doll. I have a doll named Addie, and she's an American Girl doll. And I like Addie because, I love learning history, and Addie's story tells a lot about slavery and things like that. And she's pretty much one of the most pretty American Girl dolls, I think. And so I have this American Girl doll. And one day, my ex, and because my ex was Caucasian, and he says, you're the slave girl and I'm the master, like that. In my healing, I wouldn't have thought anything of it, and I probably would just give him a look. However, in my trauma, I took that to heart. And I checked him, and I never, he never approached that again. However, he kept calling me Addie. And Addie was that American Girl doll. So I automatically assumed that he was calling me that slave. He probably was. But it was how I was perceiving it. That's what he was calling me. Years later, let's forward it. My healing process, 7 years later. A couple weeks ago, we had an event. And it was a charity event, and my students were performing there. And I'm in my healing era, just put it that way. I had on this cute, pink dress with pleats in it. I had my hair down and had my makeup on and everything, and and I had my little lucid shoes on, and I'm just kind of prancing through there. And one of my parents, she's from a foreign country. She has 2 beautiful little girls, very girly. When the parents saw me, the first thing she said, "You look like an American Girl doll." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you. And that pricked my spirit. And it didn't prick it in a bad way, but it brought my awareness to the fact that two people pretty much said the same thing, but I perceived it differently at two different times. They pretty much said the same thing, that I looked like an American Girl doll. But one, I heard it when I was in my trauma, and one, I heard it when I was in my healing, but it was the same word. Are you healing? Are you hearing? Even with Kitty, are you hearing her from your trauma? Are you hearing her from a healed state? When you hear her from a healed state, trust me, it sounds totally different than if you heard her, if you were still dealing with trauma. I deal with that a lot being in ministry. Somebody, I can say one thing, and depending on if somebody is in a traumatic state or they want to be offended, they will hear it and they will take it to a whole nother level. But if they're in a process or a state where they are healing and they feel good, they would take it totally different. And so the biggest thing is what you hear during the state of whatever life you're in is going to make the determination of whether you're going to lose a battle or you're going to win a battle. Emotions causes us to lose wars. Are we hearing from an emotional state where we're just all over the place, where we're thinking about somebody attacking us or whatever? Or are we hearing it from a state where we're healing, and this is information that would help us further healing and getting to our destination? Yeah, my ex may not have been the person that I was destined to be with, but he was definitely a part of my journey. And so I say this, I can look at it now because I'm healing. But during that time, he was the enemy. But during this time, he was a benefit to help me heal. But what happens to you is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to heal. The reason why my ex was able to come into my life and do what he did, because I drew him. I drew him based out of my trauma. He showed up as a mirror. And a lot of times, people want to go break the mirror, not realizing that they're the ones, when you look in it, you're looking at you. Don't break the mirror. Heal. Then go back to the mirror and look again. When I look in the mirror now, I see a totally different person. I can wear the same clothes and everything, but my mindset and my heart has changed. And so therefore, I would one day like to listen to Kitty. With some other, when I get a chance, I would listen to some of what she's saying. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Hear her in two different areas. When you look like when you're not healing, and then go back when you've healed and listen to her again. You just may be surprised to find out it may not be her. And this wasn't about necessarily her. This was just inspired by her that I wanted to get up and kind of share a piece of the hearing, because I see that a lot of people get offended when people say something that may be just kind of in your face, but I get it. So have an awesome day. Bye-bye.